Okay, welcome everybody. So let's get started. And I'd like to start in a nice passive heart opening shape for today. And there are a few, I'll show you some options. I'll show you a more yin one and a more restorative yang one. And we'll get started with that. So if you have a favorite, feel free to do that instead. So the slightly more restorative version you can do with a bolster. And basically you just lay back over it. You can do this with a pillow. You can do it with one of these blocks. I'm going to show you a yin version in a moment with the blocks. Yeah, you just basically lay right back over it. And if you would like to do the more yin-like version that's a little bit more intense, you could do that with one block, second to highest height in between the shoulder blades. And you can have a second prop underneath your head there. And then the idea is you're just laying back, heart open. So I'm just realizing I forgot to send out the playlist. I have it all ready, but I didn't actually email it. So I'm going to put it in the chat now, and I'll attach it to the recording as well. It's brand new. So it'll be there if you want it in the chat. Okay. So take your time to find the spot that you'd like to rest in. And in any of these shapes, your legs can be out long. You could have the knees bent, resting together. You could have the feet together and knees wide if you like. This should not hurt your lower back at all. It should be comfortable. A little trick if it's bothering your lower back is just to move the bolster or whatever the prop is a little away from your bum. And another one is to elevate your bum slightly. And as you're settling in, just kind of noticing what it feels like to allow the heart to soften open. Beginning to connect with your breath. With your body, your mood today. And also with the land that you are on, which includes, among other things, your relationship with the season and the quality of the light during the day. And of course, we're working with the energies of the moon as well. So we're in a waning moon right now. The new moon is a little bit less than a week away. So we're just tipping over into that quieter zone of the month, the new moon half. But the energy is still relatively balanced. And one of the things that is really nice to do during the waning moon phase is also a really nice thing to do in February, which is spring cleaning, organizing, letting go of some things, processing things that we've learned. It's not as much of a time for taking action on new things. It's more about sort of integrating the things that we've been working on. So if that resonates, you may want to take a moment just to sort of reflect on whether you've been having a little bit of that spring cleaning energy lately, if you've been doing any clearing or wanting to kind of affect some changes or integrate some changes lately. And if that doesn't resonate, you can just let it go. And as you continue just to soften and sink into this shape, just notice what is changing for you, what you may become aware of as you slow down. So you may want to stay here a little bit longer. Otherwise, we're going to start to shift out of this shape and into our flow practice. We'll return to the yin aspect a little bit later on. And some of you resonate with the intuitive movement practice. So that's just kind of closing your eyes and just seeing how your body would like to shift and move out of the shape. And if that doesn't resonate with you, that's fine too. You can kind of follow me. So one thing you could be doing here is bending your knees and washing the knees from side to side gently. You can let your head turn away from your knees as you're doing that. You might want to stretch your arms up over your head and your legs out long and just take a nice big stretch over the props that you're on. And then you can gently make your way out. So if you're on the blocks, I'd recommend holding the back of your head just so that you're not kind of stressing your neck, especially if it's tipped back quite a bit. And then you could sit up or you could roll to one side, whatever feels easiest for you. And then I'm going to make my way up to hands and knees for some cat and cows. That could be done in a seat as well, if you prefer. So either way, we're inhaling to open up along the front side of the body in a little back bend shape, and then exhaling to round. And you are more than welcome to do this in that intuitive way as well. If you'd like to close your eyes and just kind of see what else comes up. So it could be circling, it could be rocking forward and back, side to side motion. Maybe you're coming up into something like downward dog. We'll get there. But there can be something really sweet about just kind of allowing our bodies to teach us about what we need. We were talking about this a little bit before class, but this doesn't have to be yoga. It doesn't have to be dance. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. It's just a practice of listening to your body and seeing what happens when you do. Just being really present. And I imagine it's also a practice of non-judgment, right? What does it feel like to not worry about whether or not it looks funny? To just let it be what it is. Okay, and when you feel ready, you can come on up into that downward dog shape. The hands might come a little bit farther forward or the feet might go back. Pressing the hips back and up, and let's kind of work into that a little bit. Again, you can do that intuitively. You might bend one knee at a time, letting the hips sway. That can be quite nice for the feet and the calves and the hips as well. And then we'll walk the feet to the hands coming into a standing forward bend. Softening the knees as much as you need to. You could be hanging down, holding opposite elbows. You could have your elbows resting on your bent knees, however works best for you here. Again, with movement is great and stillness is perfect too. And then we'll roll up. You can gather in your belly, lean back into your heels, and slowly curl to standing one vertebrae at a time. Collecting your shoulders onto your back. We're going to make our way into some sun salutations in a moment. If you do like to have that playlist going and you haven't started it yet, feel free to do that now. It can be nice to have some music as we flow. And then collect your shoulders onto your back, find your toes and your feet pressing into the earth. And if you haven't already, start to access that Ujjayi pranayama, inhaling to lift and widen the ribs, and exhaling to draw the breath in and down toward the pelvic floor. And then next time you inhale, let's reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive forward over your legs. Halfway lift, draw forward, almost like a back bend. And then step your right foot behind you and lower your knee down. Inhale to rise, pressing the hips gently forward. And then downward facing dog. Connect the palms, step back. Come forward to a plank. You can do that on your knees or not. And let's lower all the way down for this first one. Hug the elbows in. Point the toes, roll the shoulders back, cobra. And then downward facing dog. Tuck the toes and press back. Right leg is going to rise to the sky. As you inhale, it can go as high as you want. And then step it through and lower the back knee down optionally. You can always keep the knee lifted if you want to. Reach the arms up. And then forward bend as you exhale to the top of your mat so your feet come together. Halfway lift and fold. Bend your knees, rising all the way up. And then we'll exhale and dive all the way down again. Lengthen up halfway. And then your left foot will step back. You can put the knee down or not. Heart and hands rise, inhaling, low lunge. And then downward facing dog will move through our vinyasa. So plank pose on or off the knees. Lower all the way down, or maybe you want to do a little push up and then point the toes and pull the heart through. Kneecaps are lifted for upward facing dog and then downward facing dog from there. Left leg is going to rise on your inhale. Don't let me rush you. Follow your own breath, please. And step through. Inhale, long sides of the waist. And then forward bend to the top of your mat. Halfway lift and soften. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. And bring the hands together in front of your heart. And begin again, reaching up, inhale. Exhale, dive. Lengthen halfway. Right foot back. Inhale, rise. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale to plank. This could always be cat and cow. Exhale, lower or a little push up. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. And then downward dog. Right leg will rise on your inhale. And through. Beautiful inhale. And exhale, top of your mat. Lengthen. And fold. Bend the knees, rising all the way up. And then all the way down. Lengthen. And left foot back. Keep following your breath. Beautiful through vinyasa. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to your back bend, shoulders down the back. And downward dog. Left leg will rise on your inhale. And step through. Beautiful, rising up. And then forward bend. Lengthen and fold. Bend the knees, rising all the way up. And then bring your hands to your heart and just take a few breaths to receive, to feel. Okay, let's take the feet a little bit wider apart, so maybe outer hips distance. And you can play with turning the toes out a little bit. This shouldn't hurt your knees. It's just a bit of a wider stance for a squat, okay? So to inhale, reach the arms up. And then exhale and sink back, any amount. Press into the heels, you can rise up slightly. And then exhale and maybe come down a little bit lower. Good, you can rise up a little bit. And exhale, sink. So leaning your weight back into your heels, you can keep working with your breath here, rising and lowering, or just let it be kind of subtle. Try lifting up your toes so that the weight really comes into your heels and you can feel your glutes working. Arms could be slightly forward, they don't have to be up. Shoulders softening down the back. One more inhale, and then let's transition into a squat. So some of you may be able to simply turn the toes out a little bit more and sink your hips. Okay, others may need to pause with the elbows on the knees. You could sit back on something. We're not going to be here too long. Just nice and long through the back of the spine, through the neck. And then next time you exhale, gently sit back and we'll lay down, do a little bit of work into the core. So you can roll on down, you can roll to your side first if you prefer. Okay, take a moment with your feet on the ground just to feel your core. So inhale, you can kind of expand your belly. And then exhale, draw the pelvic floor in and up. Belly button presses back and up. Stay here or interlace the fingers around behind the back of the head and add your upper abdominals, lifting the shoulder blades off the mat. Okay, so many of you know the marching, just lifting one foot and then the other, that's perfect. Okay, otherwise gather both of your knees in, squeeze them together so that the feet are lifted off the mat. Inhale, and as you exhale, you can either tap the foot down or you can straighten the leg out. Okay, inhale, come through center, and then just straighten the other leg or tap down. Okay, just following your own breath here, keep that belly drawing in. Use the strength of your breath to help you. That exhale is naturally going to contract into some of your deeper core muscles. Toes really nice and active. Believe it or not, your core starts in the roots of your toes. It's not all about your belly. Keep your neck, shoulders down the back. You guys are doing great. We're just doing this one today for here. So let's do a few more if you can. We're gonna do one more each side. Amazing. And then coming back in and release. You can take soles of the feet together, knees open wide or knees together, feet wide, and take a few conscious breaths into your belly, softening that. Go ahead and sigh if you want to. Okay, so from here, let's take a stretch. So you can reach your legs out to straight. Reach your arms up over your head. And then just think stretching out through the right side, right hand, right leg, back through center, and then left side, left hand, left leg. And then gather the knees in. And we'll make our way back to downward dog or hands and knees. So you can rock and roll forward and back if you like, or you can roll to one side. Whatever feels easier for you. And then you can take a couple of cat and cows, just kind of working that out, or a vinyasa if you wish. Eventually returning to downward dog and making your way back to the top of the mat. And rolling up nice and slow, feeling into your core as you do. So we're going to meet standing at the top of the mat. Taking a moment to feel, to receive that work into the core, into the breath. Okay, lifting your toes up, spreading them apart and reconnecting them. Bring your hands together to touch in front of the heart, or you can press the fingertips against each other, which can be quite helpful for balance. We're going to do a little bit of balance here. So as you inhale, I'd love for you to bring your right leg up so that your knee comes in. And we're going to do kind of a funny walking sort of thing. So you're going to straighten your leg, bring it down and behind you a little bit, and then back up. So we're staying upright for now. We're just moving the right leg a little bit. Okay, and feeling the stabilizers in the core and the left leg help to kind of find this rotation in the leg. So you're not going too far. Nothing too intense here, just a little cycling. Okay, and then next time your leg goes back behind you, let's tip with it. So you can bend the left leg a little bit, reach back. If you want a little bit more challenge, your hands can come forward in front of you. Maybe keep the mudra. And then we're going to step back into a low lunge. So let your foot come behind you. Carefully place that knee down. The knee could stay lifted for this part if you prefer. Okay, reaching the arms up, interlace the fingers, flip the palms to the sky, and we'll take a little side stretch to the left as we press the hips down. I always find I'm doing side bends around the half moon. Okay, inhale up through center, then take your right fingertips or palm right off the mat, and then lift up your back knee as you reach the left arm to the sky, coming into a little bit of a open twist. And then bring your hands down. Feel free to put them on blocks. We're going to come into pyramid. So your back foot is going to step in a little bit and the heel is going to land. So the toes are pointed at maybe a 45-degree angle or so. Feel free to widen your stance if this feels a little uncomfortable. And again, you can put your hands on the blocks. Take a halfway lift, lengthening, drawing the left hip back, and then melt. Stay there or move with the breath, inhaling to lengthen and exhaling to gently fold. Okay. So from here, we're going to inhale, and on your exhale, place right knee down again. But rather than lunge, we're actually going to transition to essentially hands and knees. So it can be over the top of me. And place your hands at the left. Go back. And me. And inhale right here, and bring that knee in towards your belly. Open to the left.
Your mic is fading out.
Is fading. Oh.
Okay, I'm just going to use my computer mic for now. Is that okay? Okay, I'll just be projecting a little bit more. Let me know if you can't hear me. Okay, so that left leg is going to take about 3 circles. So wherever you are with that, drawing the knee in and then open to the left and then back up to the sky. That's it. And then 2 more times-ish. Drawing the belly in gently. 1 more. And then we're going to transition into gate pose. So the foot lands behind you. Spin the heel to the earth. Let the right foot come off your mat. A right hand can come a little bit farther forward, and then the left arm goes up to the sky. Hugging the shoulders back, opening the heart. Take the arm alongside the ear if you'd like a bit more of a side stretch. Okay, stay here or float the left arm and the left leg up. Then bend the left leg, hold onto the foot with your hand, and come into a little bit of a back bend. Inhale, and as you exhale, gently release that. We're going to transition all the way back to downward dog. So just gently bringing that knee back, step back. Take your vinyasa if you like, or you might want to take a little rest. You could do that in child's pose, or you could do a cat and cow. Okay, from downward dog, send your right leg up into the sky behind you. Okay, we're going to bring the knee into the chest. Optionally, shoulders come over the wrists, and then we're going to open the knee to the right, and then back up to the sky. So 3 of those. Bringing the knee in, shoulders can come forward, they don't have to. Opening the knee, and sending it back. 1 more time. Inhale, and then warrior 2, step that foot through. Spin the back heel down, reach the arms up and open. Knee right over the ankle. Gently leveling the hips. Soften the shoulders. Find your breath again. Reach your arms up, flip the right palm, hold it with the left hand, and gently stretch to the back of your mat. Okay, to triangle pose, straighten your front leg. You may want to shift your back foot in a little bit. Reach forward, letting the hips tip down. Right fingertips to the calf. You can reach the left arm up to the sky. Tailbone drawing down, gently opening the heart. Okay, we're going to try a balance here, half moon. You may want to use one or both of your blocks to help you balance, or you might try floating. Okay, I have my blocks kind of where I want them. They're a little bit off to the side. I'll fix them in a sec. So we can think about bending into the front leg, and we're tipping onto one point of our triangle. So you can pop that back foot up a little bit. Reach forward. You might place the hands on something. I have the 2 blocks stacked on top of each other conveniently. And they're just slightly wide of my foot. So this looks a lot like the pose we were doing a moment ago. So let's again try bending the back leg. See if it's easy to hold the foot and add that little bit of a back bend. Might not be easy, it might not work for you. That's okay. Feel free to skip that part. Okay, gently release the foot, look down, and I'd love for you to just stand right on up. Whew. Nice work. You can shake that out a little bit, you can fidget, or maybe you're just letting stillness do the work of bringing you back. Okay, bring your fingertips to touch. Squeeze them in a little bit, lift your toes, spread them apart, reconnect them, lean into your right foot, pick up the left knee, and we're gonna do that funny kind of bicycle action. So the body is gonna stay straight up and down, but you're just working the leg forward like a big bicycle wheel pedal and up. So just working with that balance, working with the stabilizers, take your time. And then the next time your leg goes back behind you, let's tip with it. Little bit of a bend in the right knee. You can reach the arms forward if you want to. My balance is better on my other side, apparently. And then we'll step back gently into low lunge, so the knee comes down. And in this lunge, the hips are pressed a little bit forward, reaching the arms up. Interlace the fingers, press the palms up, and curve to the right, away from your back leg. Find that lovely length along the left side body. Drawing the tailbone a little bit down. Inhale up through center, let the left fingertips or palm come right off the mat to the left. Pick up the back knee if that's possible and reach the right arm up to the sky. Open the chest. Breathe. Inhale, and then we're coming into pyramid. So bringing the hands down, back foot steps in a little bit. Feel free to use your blocks. And land that heel. Lengthen the heart as you inhale, and then fold, and you can stay there folded or flow with your breath. Okay, and then look forward and gently bring the back knee down so that you're in this kind of hands and knees position. So the bum is right over top of the knee, and the right leg is going to extend back behind you. Okay, and then draw the knee in and open to the right and back up to the sky, or back through, not really the sky. And 2 more times, drawing the knee in, just gentle engagement through the core, keep your spine the same. Beautiful, and then let the foot land, spin the left foot back behind you, and reach the right arm up, or maybe over the ear. The left hand I find slightly ahead of the shoulder is really helpful. Stay here or float the right leg and right arm up to the sky. And then you could try bending the leg, hold on to it, and add that little bit of a heart opening stretch. So let that right shoulder come behind you. Awesome. Gently release that. Make your way all the way back to downward facing dog, just best as you can. And then take your vinyasa or your rest. So you could do child's pose here. You could do cat and cow. Nice. We'll meet in downward dog. Left leg goes up towards the sky. And then the knee comes into the chest. Optionally, shoulders come forward, so you're in a plank. The left knee opens to the left, and then circle it back up to the sky. And do that 2 more times. The knee comes in, and open, and up to the sky. 1 more. And then warrior 2, step the foot through. Back heel spins down, reach up and open. So knee over the ankle, hips level a little bit. And that's not going to be perfect, but we're just kind of lowering that back hip a bit. Hips are mostly facing the sidewall. There's a slight degree tilt forward. Shoulders soft, and then find your breath again, especially if you've lost it. Feel that expansion through the ribs, that sense of, as you inhale, kind of stretching your belly long. And as you exhale, drawing it in. Then reach your arms up, flip the left palm, hold it with your right hand and curve to the back of your mat. And then gently release that. We're going to come into triangle. So you may shorten your stance a little bit, tip back, reach forward and place your fingertips. Right arm rises to the sky. Very light on the left hand. You want to feel like you could lift it up at any time. Okay, and then we're going to work into our balance. So you might want to adjust your blocks if you need them. Okay, I find them helpful, especially if I'm doing the leg variation. Okay, and then you can put your right hand on your hip or just reach it back. It's a little easier on your hip. Tip forward, left fingertips come down, and that right leg opens to the side. So it's just like triangle, but on one leg. And if you want to try it, you can do that same quad chest opening, reaching for your foot behind you and opening your heart. Obviously, it's going to be harder here than on the knee. So be gentle with yourself. If it's not working for you, that's okay. Okay, and then straighten the leg again. If it's bent, look down and see if you can just stand on up. Nice. You can shake out a little bit. Woo. Let's reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold down. Take a halfway lift. And then option A, sit down and lay on your back. Option B, take one last vinyasa and then meet us on your back when you are ready. So depending on what your energy is like right now, what you're feeling. Okay, I'm going to take a couple of bridges when we come down to laying on our backs. There's a lot I want to do and I probably don't have time for everything, so we'll do our best. So set your feet underneath your knees. So that's close enough to touch with your fingertips, but not with your bum. I personally like outer hips distance apart. You can have your hands in robot shape, or for now, hands on the mat, just palms down. I'm going to start with a couple of Pilates bridges and then we're going to shift it. Okay, so inhale, As you exhale, curl your tailbone, gather your belly in, and lift your bum up, maybe to the level of your knees. And then exhale, gently lower it down, uncurling the tailbone. Do that 2 more times. So you're going to gather the belly in, tailbone curls, and we're lifting to this kind of plank-like shape. And then lowering down. This is a little bit of core and glute work, which is really beneficial. And then this last one, we're going to take into a yoga bridge. So when you get to that kind of halfway point, take your arms into that robot shape, press them down and apart, and snuggle your shoulders under. Start to lift your chest up higher, bringing your chest towards your chin and your knees towards the wall behind you. If you like, you can interlace your fingers underneath your body, snuggle the shoulders even more under you, and really push the floor away to get that lovely back bend feeling. You gently release that. Take a moment, soften. Okay, one more. We're going to come right up into the yoga bridge, and those of you that want to do wheel, you can. I think I'm not going to do full wheel, but I'll show you the steps towards it. Okay, so elbows beside the ribs. I like to lift my toes and just reconnect them. Keep your spine neutral, engage your core, lift up the bum, press the elbows down and apart, lifting the chest. If you want to try wheel, you can place your hands beside your ears, fingers pointing towards you. Then I would lower the hips a little bit to press onto the crown of the head. If that all feels safe, you can widen your hands a little. Sometimes I widen my feet a bit as well, and then work the arms towards straight. Okay, if you're in bridge, collect those shoulders under. And same alignment with the feet, though in wheel, it's okay for them to be wider, but you want them to be parallel. And you want to hug the inner thighs together a little bit, and then push the floor away. Okay, gently soften down when you're ready. If you're coming out of wheel, chin to chest. Knees can fall in or out. Take a few conscious breaths to relax your belly. Okay, so we're going to shift from here into our yin postures again, and we're going to start with a nice twist. We won't hold it too long, but we're slowing down, okay? So you can shift your hips a little to the left, pick up your knees and drop them down to the right. Let the left arm open to the left and soften your shoulder. You could put something between your knees or underneath your knees. You could also move the knees down a little bit and look away. Okay, and then gently engage the belly, draw your knees in through center. We'll come to the second side, bringing the hips over to the right, pick up the knees, bring them down to the left. Right arm opens. You can look away from the knees. Feel free to prop it up as you need to. This should feel pretty good. It is a little bit of a stretch, but there shouldn't really be any pain in this one. So if there is, please adjust so that it feels kind of soft and easeful. And then engage your belly and gently come back through center. You can give your knees a little hug and rock from side to side. And we're going to take a nice juicy hip opener as we make our way sort of into this yin version. And if you know you like thread the needle best, with the ankle across the thigh, just here laying on your back, you can absolutely do that one. Otherwise, we'll try pigeon, okay? So you can roll over to your side and gently press yourself up. You can do this from downward dog or hands and knees, but I like to do it with a bolster from seated. So you can take a bolster or whatever you have that's kind of firm and soft, and there are other ways of doing this as well. You're gonna lean over to the left, swing your right leg back behind you. If you have your blocks, you can press into them with your hands and try to square your hips over the bolster and shift forward and back to get comfortable. Now, if you don't have a bolster, you could wedge a block or cushion or whatever you've got underneath just your elevated hip. If you don't have any props, you could do thread the needle or you could do 90-90, which looks like this. You'd be folding forward either way. You may want to take a little stretch, lengthening the psoas first, lifting your heart, and then you can fold down. You can use your blocks if you have them under your elbows or under your chest and or forehead so that your shoulders can soften. So ideally, you've got a pretty good stretch in your hip, but it's not painful in your knee or anywhere else, and it's not so challenging that you feel stressed. If it's not quite right, feel free to shift forward, back. And if you're worried about whether or not you have enough sensation, if you can feel it, you're doing it. So don't feel like you need to push for more, okay? That's something I learned by getting injured. It's enough, okay? And then especially if you're supported with the props, you can begin to soften into the pose. We're gonna hold this one for a couple of minutes. We'll take a few more breaths here. Feel free to sigh or make sound. And then when you're ready, you can gently press up. Lean over onto that left hip, bring the back leg around to the front. Do a little wash from side to side, maybe shake out your legs. And then we'll come to the second side. So you can lean over to your right hip. Extend the left leg back. And again, you can shift forward and back. You can wedge just your one prop underneath the elevated hip. But if you have two blocks, put the other one underneath your left hip so it's even, if that makes sense. You can shift forward and back. You might want to lengthen up into a little active proud pigeon. And then you can come down when you're ready. Again, blocks under the chest and or forehead and or elbows, depending on what you've got. Or you can just support yourself with your elbows. Stacked fists is nice under your head. Take a deep breath and settle in. Last couple of breaths. Feel free to sigh if you like. And then when you're ready, gently start to press yourself back up. Lean over onto that right hip, bring the left leg around to the front. And again, you can take your windshield wipers. You can shake out your legs. And then we're going to prepare for Shavasana. So if you have a last pose that you want to do before Shavasana, feel free to take that. Otherwise, you can follow me. If you have the bolster, I'd love for you to keep it right here. And then lay down on your back and take happy baby. So let the knees go wide. Soles of the feet could come up to the sky and just holding on to whatever's handily accessible. You can rock a little from side to side. I find this is really nice on the lower back and the hips after doing pigeon. And then you can conveniently lay your legs over the bolster when you're ready. It's right where you want it for Shavasana. Add your layers, whatever you need to do, and come to rest. So take a moment to notice how you're feeling. Your breath, sensations in your body, your mood. And if you feel ready to move, you can begin to deepen that breath and bring some little wiggles into your body. And if you have the time to stay and you want to, there's absolutely no rush. You can stay as long as you like. And if you're coming out of Shavasana, eventually you'll gather your knees in and roll to one side. And then press up to a seat. You can place your hands over top of your heart or together at your heart or wherever feels most right for you today. And then gently bow your mind to your hands, taking a moment to honor and acknowledge whatever it took for you to get to your practice today. The long and complex lineage of teachers that is with us in our yoga, and the sacredness of the land that we practice on. Thank you for sharing all that with me.